Welcome to the Independent Artist Podcast, sponsored by the National Association of Independent Artists.
Also sponsored by Zapplication. I'm Will Armstrong, and I'm a mixed media artist.
I'm Douglas Sigworth, glassblower. Join our conversations with professional working artists. It's been a busy week around here getting ready for the first show of the year. Are you keeping up with it, Will? How's your punch list coming along?
I gave it up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's no way I'm hitting
Gave up the punch list or gave up painting?
Gave up the punch list. I don't know that I can. I actually started one while you said, I'll talk to you in an hour. And I waited for 50 minutes and got really antsy and was like, fuck it, I can't wait anymore. I'm like, still haven't hit the window when you told me that you were going to be ready. So anyway, I started another piece. I've got another commission that this guy thinks has been like how long commissions actually take versus how long your customers think they take. Oh, how's it coming? I'm like, how's it coming? It's not due for 3 months. I'm not going to start it for 3 months. You know,
I'm going to finish my show season and then I'll get to it.
Right. Your money in the bag, lady. You just dropped a low priority. That's horrible. I hope my customers never listen to this show.
The gig is up, Armstrong.
Yep.
They know how it works.
They know exactly how it works. I've got walls covered with art in here in my studio, but I don't know that I'm bringing any of these pieces. So We'll see how it goes.
We're getting ready here, and I'm in the phase that I hate the most, which is holding the glass pieces that have been blown onto these diamond pads and grinding away, polishing them up. It's just so boring.
Right.
And then just listening to that, you know, if you don't pay attention for 1 second, the thing slips out of your hand and you've just completely ruined something.
Really?
So,
is there a danger to it? Not just in losing the piece, but in...
Actually, which finger? This finger barely scraped, just barely touched down onto the diamond pad the other day. I was 60 grit diamonds and it took a slice off.
Yeah, I'm sure. So folks, we've got a long one today. It's funny. I have started doing this thing in my interviews where I'll ask if wait, what?
I said, that's what she said. Finally, everyone, I get to say, that's what she said to him.
Attaboy.
Yay.
That's really good. Okay. Anyway, Erin Curry's on the show this week. Been wanting to talk to her for a while, and I feel like we got through our interview and kind of like the classic, what's kind of become the Independent Artist Podcast classic interview kind of style, like, where'd you come from? What are you doing? What are you doing? You got a show's coming up? What are you doing there? How'd you start the work there? Oh, you went to school? Oh, you came from Africa? Just kind of the classic.
So we're airing the after show along with the show.
Well, we started talking. I was like, hey, you got anything else you want to talk about? And that's where I feel like the conversation really started getting going. And that was already at the 1 hour mark.
You know, I was really glad that you guys talked about the moment. And we're not going to necessarily step on the toes of what you guys talked about because it was really good and powerful. But the moment we're all in is fascism coming to the city streets of Minneapolis. And for me personally, you know, the last time we recorded, we talked about ICE coming to Minneapolis. And then literally that afternoon, after the recording was done, Renee Good was murdered. And the following week, or however many weeks later, Alex Preddy was murdered.
It's impossible to keep up. Honestly, it's impossible to be topical because things happen so quickly, and that's how they want them to happen. And there's so many distractions, and you know, I'm as cynical as you could possibly get with the distractions. You take a city that is in the lower percentile for illegal immigrants and make that your scapegoat because of what? Of a perceived enemy. That's what you have. You have a totalitarian state, somebody who thinks that they are above Congress, a Congress who's acting like they agree with them. Nobody that's willing to stand in the way, somebody who's using both immigration control as well as the Justice Department now as weaponizing them. So that's where I'm coming from. I believe those examples are perfect examples of fascism, like you just said.
Yes.
But it's terrifying.
And it's my home. I mean, people are watching this all across the country, and they're thinking about what this means to our country. I'm thinking about this is what it means to my community and to the neighborhood that I have like a 35-year history with. I mean, he was murdered right in front of where we go for every anniversary.
Yeah.
That's how Renee and I got to know each other, was going to restaurants in that neighborhood. And It's not just that, okay, now I don't want to go to that scary area. It's just about like, there's so much love and memory I have there. And now there's this shitty thing.
Right. It's a beautiful community. And I Minneapolis kind of adopted me. You know, my wife is from that area, from Minnesota, and grew up in that area. And there's a little connection. I won't bury the lead there, but there's a little connection there with Renee Good being murdered in that neighborhood that I bring up with Erin. So I appreciate her being so, she's so badass and honest. Right. Anyway, she's exactly who she is. And I'm exactly who I am, but we get down in the shit. So,
but the one thing I want to say about what I took away from that part of it, and everyone else will probably be thinking the same thing, is how it affects you personally. And we can't sit, and we certainly have to be activists about it, and we have to do what we can, but we can't live in that scary place all day, every day, 24/7.
Right. And you don't mean Minneapolis, you mean the scary place mentally, correct?
Exactly. You got that right. And so I'm thinking about the work that we're making, and our work isn't like a commentary on society, but I do feel like we're putting out an energy. And this year more than ever, I want to put out positive vibes. I want to put out joy. And so our first show here going out, we're going with all color. We're going vibrant.
Yeah.
And we're going to have fun with it. And it's going to be ourselves, just like, you know what? Let's try and glean some happiness, joy. That's what I'm going with anyway.
Well, I appreciate you trying to do that. I appreciate you. I'm not quite sure where my work will go, how it will be affected. I know that there are certain ways that it can be affected, but last year it was kind of like I did a couple of pieces based around the moments that unite us all, that are not divisive. But man, I'm feeling divisive right now. I'm feeling really like you're not welcome. Just, you know what, I'm just not feeling it. So I typically apologize and try to meet people halfway. And I know that there are some conservative listeners, but like
this isn't about conservatism. No. This isn't politics. And you do talk about that with Erin. You know, fascism isn't about politics. This is just effed up. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's how we feel about Minneapolis and what's going on in the cities of our country and ICE. But I think it's time that we hand the reins over to Erin Curry.
What
do you think?
It's a great talk, and I appreciate her having it with us and sharing herself with the community. So let's get down on it.
All right. There she is.
This episode of the Independent Artist Podcast is brought to you by Zap, the digital application service where artists and art festivals connect.
So I've started using the events list feature in Zap to search up some different shows to fill those holes in my schedule.
You know, I feel like I should have something to say, but I wasn't really listening to you because I'm looking at the events list right now, and it's pretty cool. Okay, so you drop the menu down, and there at the bottom, go scrolling all the way, about third thing down in the smaller print, it just says events list.
That's right. All of the shows appear here regardless of their application deadline. You can use the filtering and the sorting to narrow down your search so that you can find that right show that fills your desired time frame or location.
I know a lot of people love that calendar. I like seeing the list of events. I like scrolling through and doom scrolling late at night. It's like online dating. They don't let you swipe left or right, but you can figure out who you want to date in the coming up year. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a call for entry this week. This show is in the very popular Fort Worth area. Douglas, what's the name of the show?
This is the Art Worth Festival, and it's a celebration of fine art, fine craft, and classical music.
Very cool. You know, this one was on my radar last fall, and they did have an impressive group of artists that did the show last year, and some good friends of mine. So
this show is October 23rd through the 25th. It's their 5th year, so they've got kind of those like growing pains out of the way. So now they're established, they know what worked, what didn't work, and they're moving forward.
I can't tell you how appealing that date is to me.
The application is coming due in June 14th.
And with the way we broadcast our shows here once a month, that's coming up quicker than you'd actually imagine.
They've allocated quite a large budget towards marketing. They have a media sponsor which includes the local TV stations and radio stations, magazines, online, streaming ads, as well as 50,000 direct mailings. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get the word out on this one.
What this says to me, folks, is that they're committed to making the show work. Get in on the ground floor of a new show coming up here in Texas.
I think I'm going to check that one out.
One of my favorite parts about doing the show is that I get to see old friends up on the podcast, and it's been a few months. Erin Curry, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This is a good time. It's always fun to be able to talk to friends and just catch up and see. When's the last time you worked? When's the last time you showed your work?
I think, the last show was the Armadillo, so that was actually pretty recent. But
yeah, that's very recent.
You've done that show.
Yeah, you were in my old booth space. So how did you like that?
It's a good space. I had great neighbors. Got to be next to, Mick and Paige and Carrie and everybody. So it was a good spot.
Yeah, guests of the show, former guests. We have Carrie and James on that Douglas spoke to. That James won't stop making fun of me for not being on that show, but that's all right.
It's a monster of a show. I don't fault anyone for wanting to do it or not doing it. I recommend it as best I can with how, I do there. But I mean, it's a different type of show,
For sure. It's, and they've changed the hours or the date pattern a little bit so that it falls on the 2 weekends before the holidays. So you guys got a couple of days before actual Christmas. For me, it was just too hard on my family where my family is right now. And, being away from home and missing all of the, I don't know. If you live in Santa Fe, why would you miss the entire Christmas season? I mean, it's a lovely place to be.
Santa Fe and Christmas is like part of my childhood growing up, actually. Like my parents took my sister and I to Santa Fe, Christmas Santa Fe, like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times, when we were growing up. And I remember walking down Canyon Street with all the luminarios on Christmas Eve, and all the galleries are open. And it's the only time we ever got to see snow as kids, living in Texas. So, I mean, Santa Fe has always been a very magical kind of place in our family, just art and food. And our family is obsessed with New Mexican food and green and red chilies versus Christmas. Ooh, the debate.
Right. I've been going, I've lived here now for 6 years, and I've been going Christmas as far as the red and green chili. That's what they call it if you get both, and they do it right down the middle. But I think I'm going green now. I think I'm developing. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I'm a green girl. I mean, I do like the red, especially with like the pork sometimes, how they'll do it, like the slowest of pork. But man, if I have to choose, I'm green all the way. Green all the way. That's crazy. So let's set up your artwork a little bit first. Okay. It's illustrative. It is pictures of things, which is like, I've been talking to Douglas last week. I talked to him about, people that do very representative work versus people that do not just abstract, but decorative work. And you definitely fall in my camp of illustrative pictures of things. Yes.
How would you describe your work?
I think I've got a lot of different series. I'm sure I'm not the only artist that goes back and forth between different subject matters, but I tend to draw what I like. And that could be anything from diving from my biology background, which, I have a bachelor's of science, then also just my love of movies, music, pop culture. I have a really big influence right now when it comes to Japanese mythology. Headed to Japan in March to get some more influence and just
inspiration.
Get some more inspiration. Yeah, it's just things that I like, whether it can have sometimes religious. I'm working on a series with like some religious iconography in it too. I'm not being very religious myself, but I find it very moving and beautiful, and I love kind of the symbolism behind it and all the meaning and history. So it is all over the place, but it's all confined in the shadow boxes. It's all illustrative. It's ink and colored pencil on watercolor paper is pretty much the whole idea behind it. I've got a fun,
but it's multi-layered
kind of
too. So so when I see your work, I see like there's nobody else doing it like you are doing it. Thank goodness, because they'd be ripping you off. But
I've told some people like how I'm doing it, because I think shadowbox work has, there's different ways of doing it and figuring it out. I figured out how to push needles through the paper, like how you would pin insects. I got that from my ideas from entomology and stuff like that. But just kind of the way I'm doing it, I think is very interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm totally fine with telling people how I do it. When they're kind of like, oh man, that's a great idea. The pins, they're so, keeps it where the work is elevated, where you can't see how it's suspended. So I get all these people just constantly trying to figure it out. And then they'll finally see the needles and they're like, oh, your eye just doesn't go to it. And I'm like, yeah, it was kind of a clever way to figure out how to suspend them and elevate them in the shadow boxes. And when people are like, I'm going to use that idea, I go, good luck. Took me.
Yeah. Come at me.
Still trying to figure it out for myself and different layering techniques and stuff like that. So
exactly. And your work is so unique too. It is kind of I don't know. I joke about the whole like people. Well, it's not really a joke, but I do feel like when you operate at a high level, like you're doing really great shows and you're doing well with it. So I do feel like a lot of times people are kind of like, what's she doing? All of a sudden you've got a bigger target on your back. And it's like Daryl Thetford said one time, he was like, you're not just, he was talking to an emerging artist and he was like, well, you're not just an artist now you're a Cherry Creek artist. It's like, it's like you've done that show and all of a sudden you've got that target on your back. People are looking to you, they're looking to you as kind of a leader in the community almost, or as a member of the high end, kind of the Illuminati.
I mean, it feels like something special when you're at, I feel grateful to be at any show and every show, but there are some shows that you just feel extra special being there. You know how hard the jury process is. Right. You know how many artists want to be there. And then when you get there and you see the level of talent and just, it just adds, it even adds to your, just kind of how you're feeling being there. But then I don't know if anyone else feels it, but then I'll get this crazy imposter syndrome when I see other artists work and I'm like, oh my gosh, do you deserve to be here? And you put you put your best work out there. And I'm sure you're like me, like the rest of us. I mean, when you get invited to some of these shows, man, you go, all right, what am I going to bring this year? Like I try to always bring new work, really push myself, try that every time I'm there. I hope that other artists or friends are like, oh, wow, bunch of new work from Erin this year. She's pushing it,
And I feel like, and I've screwed it up before too, where I've gone and I've tried to bring new work and I'm like, okay, well, that was a little weird. Like, why did I do that? And I'm trying to step up my game a little bit, but that imposter syndrome is super real. I don't care who you are. And I'm always kind of like looking around. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I kind of feel like sometimes I'm like, I feel fine in front of the customers, but then sometimes my peers, I'm like, don't look at me. I don't want you to see me. Like
when you see them looking at your work, you're kind of like, do I tell them or do they just let them form their own opinions? I don't know. You kind of don't know what the other artists. I love when other artists come into my booth and because some of us, we've only seen each other from show to show, or I don't know, how often do you get to sit there and talk with other artists about their work and their inspirations? I feel like sometimes artists kind of stick to their own lane and stay in their booth and don't go out there. I'm more of I want to see what everyone's doing, and I'm wanting people to come in my booth too and talk about it. Like I'm nothing if not an art collector and lover myself,
Absolutely.
So, when you're at these shows and all the artwork, the quality is so high, all I want to do is get away and just go see who's there. Who have I not seen? Who have I not really got to ask? Like, hey, can you tell me about, what your work is?
And I feel like too, like you and I, we both jury. Do you jury under mixed media or drawing?
Mixed media.
Do you? Okay. I mean, you could easily jury under drawing too, because you're stretching.
I think so, but I'm always, I'm always second guessing myself, and you never know, who the jurors are, what their level of understanding is. So I think the drawing, it makes it harder for them to understand how it's drawing, but mixed media is so broad that I think they can go, she's using, it's probably a bunch of different techniques,
and I kind of am the opposite, because I'll jury under drawing and I feel like it's like I'm pushing the boundaries of what it means to be drawing, and I don't mind doing that. Whereas, especially anymore, I found, and I'm not trying to convince you to, I don't need Erin Curry fucking up my category, making it harder to get in.
I can't tell because, you hear some people say, oh, it's harder to get under drawing because, they're taking a smaller amount of artists. And,
right.
And then mixed media is such a big,
it's
broad
such
category.
A big category.
But
like,
I think
anymore, I feel like too, like I'm starting, and I couldn't be any less AI, but I'm starting to get like questions. Oh, now what is this? And now how would you say this? And it's like, well, if it's drawing, it's like, well, you're getting your hands dirty, and it's certainly not painting. So it's kind of, I don't know. I find my way. I was not too much about me, but I mean, I've talked about this before, but I wanted to be a comic book illustrator when I was coming up, and I wanted to do that, and I still kind of want to do that. And I've got these ideas of how to do both, but I don't know. I find that, and I'm still using that same technique that I was doing when I was coming up in illustration and doing those kind of things. So I feel, I don't know, it's whatever it is, it's an interesting conversation, whatever you're having with the jurors or the community. And as long as it's an interesting conversation, then go for it. I wanted to talk to you. You talked about your biology background, and I've got a 17-year-old that wants to do that right now, and she's looking into schools, into going into biology. And tell me a little bit about that. Were you a practicing biologist? Do you studied it, or how'd it go?
Yeah, so the dream when I was a kid, man, when I saw Steve Irwin on Discovery Channel for the first time, I was like, that's who I want to be,
Yeah.
And of course, me being a little mouthy, teenager, both my parents like, well, you've got the personality for it.
Right.
And so I kind of thought that's what I wanted to do. I definitely knew I wanted to be animals, ecology, something like that. So went to ACU and ended up going there because of the biology program, but also when my parents also kind of made sure that I was well-rounded and played sports. So I ended up getting a volleyball scholarship as well.
Wow.
Getting to go. So it was like the perfect match. They were going to pay for school, great biology program. I basically knew right away, all right, start working at the Abilene Zoo. It was a real small, cool zoo. It's the smaller zoos are really hands-on. So worked there, for 3 years, started with an internship that got hired. So was doing that part-time.
And you were working
like
directly with the animals? And
I was working in the ornithology department. So birds, don't get me wrong. I wanted to initially worked in the large carnivores. Like we had a couple sun bears and we had a couple panthers and cougars and ocelots and stuff like that.
Wow.
But those were already set. And ornithology wasn't like a high sought after one, but I wouldn't have traded it for anything after that. Getting to work with like the large raptors and owls and Chihuahuan ravens, those were my absolute favorite. But I could go on and on about my weird stories at the Abilene Zoo. But
tell me your favorite one. Give me your best one.
Okay, so we had a whole pen of quail, just Texas quail, but they're part of so. Summer, Texas summer, and in Abilene, Texas, rat snakes everywhere, man. Rat snakes are very prevalent, and those things get big, like
huge,
real big.
Like the red racers and that's what we have. We're lousy with them here too. Just crazy amounts of snakes. Tons
and tons of snakes. So one of my jobs, especially during the heat of summer, was you gotta watch out for the quail. They'll kind of alert you, let you know. They start making this little noises when predators are around. And so I'm doing my rounds, I'm going through the pens, and all of a sudden I hear the quail freaking out. And I'm like, oh man. So I go over there. And right as I look, this giant rat snake is halfway through the chain link fence going at the quail. And all I thought to do, I went, well, so I just jump on it and jump full body on this giant rat snake. And the thing starts thrashing everywhere. It's trying to turn around, get back at me. Cause they're not venomous, but they bite. Like that mean bite. And so I'm screaming and I'm screaming, someone help. And this thing is it's like whipping me and all this stuff like that. And so finally one of the herp boys, AKA herpetologists, one of the herp boys comes like, what are you screaming over for? And then he just looks at me and he goes, oh man, what a beauty. And just starts, he didn't care about me at all.
No,
He's
just
like, get the rat snake, get the rat snake. So he helps me wrangle this thing out of the quail pen, and he's gotten it. And I'm like bleeding a little bit. The tail, it's bit me. I'm all like messed up and everything like that. And he just looks at me and goes, you're good. And just takes the rat snake and just goes off and just leaves me. So
just walk it off.
I got beat up by a rat snake. So, but apparently me just screaming all through the zoo was like everybody's favorite thing that day. So
that's entertaining. That's good stuff, man. Yeah. So you're there at the zoo.
And ended up finishing my degree. Ended up going and working for the Dallas Zoo. Working kind of in the ornithology department, was kind of like a jack of all trades, like kind of bouncing between some of the different enclosures and areas. And unfortunately, not to discourage anyone from the biology field, but, zoos don't pay very well. It's a great fun job and everything, but living in downtown Dallas as well, is not cheap. So ended up having to bartend, kind of on the side. And then, I don't sugarcoat, how I got to where I am. Bartending kind of started paying more and was fun, and I made friends and go out drinking, and that kind of just took over. So I ended up leaving the zoo and just full-time working at Del Frisco's, the original really cool steakhouse in Addison, Texas. That's where I learned how to bartend. I had this great mentor. He looked like the bartender from The Shining. Kind of small dude, slick back hair, always has his hands like this, but makes the best martini you've ever had in your entire life, and, taught me everything. But ended up doing that for a while. And then I love the service industry, cannot speak, any high, can definitely speak highly about it. But I feel like
if when you're coming up, it's either going to be service industry or it's going to be building something.
Yeah. Building something,
or
but
maybe retail, but then retail comes into the service industry too. It's similar. It's the same type of deal. But I was Douglas as well. But we both did. I actually waited tables on not just waited tables. When I bartend, I think I've told this story before. I told all my good shit on this show. It's just people glaze over.
People like hearing it
Vince Gilligan was he was sitting there at the bar writing Breaking Bad. He went to VCU, which is where I went, Virginia Commonwealth University. And I don't know if you're a fan of that show, but
big time.
But when Better Call Saul came around and they had Davis and Main in Santa Fe, there were two bars right across the street from each other. I worked at Santa Fe, ironically, and then the bar across the street, which was the parent restaurant, was Davis and Main. And so when he was writing it, he put Davis and Main, the law firm, in Santa Fe as a nod to the two places where he wrote the scripts.
That's cool.
So anyway, just kind of repeating myself.
Well, I hadn't heard it yet. So I hadn't heard that story yet. So it's new for me. But yeah, service industry is great. I mean, I think everybody should be forced to be in the service industry for part of their lives, so they realize that their ranch dressing is not that fucking important, and it might take 1 minute or it might take 4, but the server, they're getting it. They're getting your ranch.
Yes.
It also teaches you great social skills, teaches you how to multitask. I mean, I think I wouldn't have traded my service industry years for anything, because it's helped me in my art career. It's helped me be good at sales. It's helped me read people. It's helped you, kind of navigate interactions.
That's everything. I feel like those are the best people at sales, really. And it's sometimes knowing that they're coming to you already wanting it, and all you have to do is just to guide them through. But
take it off the wall, or
it's everything. It's everything.
There's people I love whenever friends or family who don't do what we do, and I'll be talking. They're like, there's people in your booth, and I go, that's gonna happen. They're gonna come in, they're gonna look, and then they're gonna leave. And then, I go, it's okay. You just learn how to read people when they're looking, or some people just want to look and walk away. I like that too. I have a really hands-off kind of approach when it comes to how I talk to my people. I like to sit away or behind the booth and let people just look at the artwork without having the artist just staring at you,
Yeah, exactly. And I always have an escape route too, so that, I try to get that area where if I don't have a corner booth and I've got an exit out the back where I'm just kind of in and out, and I'm not breathing down people's neck.
Talking to you. Oh, what? You have a question over there?
Right.
Now that my husband's with me full time,
he can always ask you. Sweet.
He can always tell the look on my face when my eyes go dead in a conversation, and he'll know it, and he'll go, Erin, someone over there wants to talk to you, and I'll excuse me. He's real good at seeing it now to kind of get me away from it,
That's awesome. He's a great partner for this, and I've seen you guys interact, and Rodrigo, he's got the skills. I'm happy to hear that he's joined you kind of kind of full time.
It is great. I feel kind of spoiled now because, doing shows for so long by myself, I loved it. Don't get me wrong, like road warring it up, on your own, soloing it, traveling all over and setting up the booth by yourself, tearing it down. And did that for, oh my gosh, like 8 or 9 years and, loved it. But now he's with me and now 2 people driving the van and 2 people setting up. And now I get to walk around the show and talk to friends, for a little bit when you
can. And
it's
not so lonely. You get away from your person. You're like, you guys are a great couple. And it's like, I feel that way with, when my wife is not doing a show with me, I'm just kind of like,
oh, you're like,
it just
I know. You're like, it's my best friend. It's kind of
totally.
It's bummed when your best friend isn't there. And for all the years I did do it by myself when he was full-time teaching, he'd always be like, how was your day? And I'd be like, it was awesome. What'd you do today? Oh, went and did this or saw this or had a blast with other artist friends. And I could tell he's always like, sounds fun. And now he gets to be a part of all those memories and all those, really cool, fun things. I
love it.
He loved getting to go to Cherry Creek and getting to experience that and seeing how fun that show is and, just the caliber and just the way that it feels when you're there. So he was like, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like this. His favorite show though is a weird one. He loves the Ann Arbor show.
Oh, wow.
That is notoriously not anyone's favorite show.
It's some people's. That's all, no disrespect to he
he loves that show. He loves Ann Arbor. He loves the city. His favorite ramen place is there. He likes the vibes of Ann Arbor. It was one of the few shows he was able to go with me whenever he was teaching. So he would get excited. It was a summer show. That in Columbus he got to go to. So he has like a fondness for Ann Arbor that I think is very, very just him. But
that's amazing. I mean, it's like some of my favorites I don't even do anymore. Like I used to, because it's so far away or whatever, but I used to love doing like St. James.
Oh, I haven't tried that one.
In Louisville. And I love Louisville, Kentucky. And I just did this. It was funny. I took this buddy of mine to the spot called the Mag Bar. And I was like, oh, it's just the most incredible salt of the earth bar. It's just such a great, and I took him and he's like, did they not have shithole bars in Virginia? I'm like, it's really just a dive bar. It's just like the diviest of all dive bars.
It's a good dive bar. Well, but isn't that such a cool thing that we all get to have? I think, it might not be everybody, but I also think just another amazing perk of getting to do what we do is we all have our favorite shithole bars in random cities that you go to every year because you do that show every year. And then when you stop doing that show, you're like, oh man, it's like Ernstine and Hazel's in Memphis, man.
My God, of course. And that is, that's absolutely, if we're talking shithole bars, that's the best one in the country.
It's pretty gnarly, and I love that they never fix it up.
Favorites. I know.
Yeah. And and every year that you do Memphis, I get excited knowing that, all the artists are going to wind up at that bar on the Saturday, and it's
exactly. The neon sign that's on the outside, that used to be on the side. I don't know what happened. I think somebody told me it was in for repair, but they had a little neon sign that was hanging in the window that said Soul Burger.
Yep.
And that was the back cover of my rockabilly band's album. We were Hamburger James, and that was the back of our cover was Ernestine and Hazel's little
just
neon.
Taking inspiration from all the places we get to
everywhere.
Go,
I love that spot and the history and just like it was a stop on the Chitlin circuit with bands would come into town when they couldn't get into hotels because of racism and Jim Crow, and it is just a little slice of real live Memphis and life. Yeah. Just the best.
I just love some of these. I'm not saying, because everybody's like, oh, you're from Dallas. Do you love Dallas? I'm like, meh, it's okay. It's a city. It's got a good art scene. Deep Ellum is wonderful. That's where I've always lived. And I've always been a Deep Ellum girl. And,
nice.
We've got tons of great restaurants, everything. But I will say this, and I'm sure there could be some pushback, but I feel like Dallas doesn't have a soul. It's a cool city, but Memphis has a soul. There's some cities, New Orleans. It's like there's something about it that you just go, you feel this, you feel something in the air about it, everything that's happened there, the spirit of it, or just the history, the music, the art, everything like that. And so it's like Memphis. Oddly enough, I feel that way with St. Louis. that might be
not I can see that for sure. No, I can feel that, and it's tough to maybe find, but you like you like the grittier ones, but the East St. Louis, and I mean that's got the history too of like you like the jazz and the blues and the those are the cities, those are the headquarters, and so basically. Cool. If it's on the Mississippi, is kind of how I feel.
Well, it's littered with, probably good history, bad history, trade, all those port cities have so much to them because they were so important in the growing of America, and tons of influences from other countries, and stuff like that. So I feel like those cities always just have more to them. Dallas, I don't know. Like it's like I said, it's a great city. Honestly, I live here for strategic reasons. Mm-hmm. My family's here, which I'm so very close with my family. And so,
that's great.
They're here. But to be fair, we're just right here at the top middle of Texas with all these top art shows here in Texas just surrounding me.
True.
We have like 9 shows just in Texas, and
crazy.
It just doesn't make sense to move away from this just really awesome influx of top shows. I feel like some states don't even have a art show, much less Texas having, 8 or 9. So
right. I turned you guys on to Dale Watson, the musician in Austin so when we were there, but like he doesn't really leave Texas. He's like, well, why would I bother leaving Texas? I can sell out they love my music here. And he just TikToks away all the way around Texas and never has to leave. And it's like, what a great gig for a musician and what a good deal for an artist. I mean, do you hit all of those Texas shows? Do you try to do them all?
I haven't ever tried like the Galveston one, but we've seen each other at the same ones, Bayou City, spring and fall, Cottonwood, spring and fall. Cottonwood is like, that was like one of the first top shows that I ever got accepted to. Nice. And so I have like a special place in my heart for Cottonwood. And I love that show director, Diana Lawrence. She's absolutely
really good.
Wonderful person. Main Street, I think one of my favorite shows ever of all time. And then I'm trying out South Lake for the first time this year. I've always done the Oklahoma City show, the bicentennial one, but kind of wanted to give that one a break and try South Lake. And then what we've got, the McKinney Arts in Bloom. Woodlands. Woodlands is another great show. Bummed to not get to do it this year. I've got something cool happening that weekend that I'll get to announce later in the year that I'm excited for.
How later in the year?
I think I'll get to talk about it in March.
Okay.
Whenever it'll get announced, but just another really cool, fun opportunity in our industry that, we always hope for, never know if you're, worthy of, but you're going to try to do your best and
that's awesome. I love seeing that you're getting some recognition. You were on the Main Street jury, 2 years ago or last year?
Last year.
Last year, you were the poster artist there. It's it's cool to see the work. I mean, you've been doing this for a while, but kind of really starting to pay off and people recognizing you and your work and
I appreciate that.
In the right spot.
You actually, I told a bunch of people like that you gave me some great advice for Main Street. You were like, all right, you're going to be the post artist. Not telling you what you should do, but when you unveil that piece at the VIP party, man, put what you want for that piece because someone's going to, and then lo and behold, it happened exactly kind of how you said that. I don't even know if I would have thought to bring the original. But then, of course, when you were like, oh, why wouldn't I, set up a little panel and had it up and had it covered and then unveiled it and not even
so great.
Less than a minute after they unveiled the poster and I took it off, Rosa Rios is her name. She's the head of the Rios Foundation in downtown Fort Worth. She goes, I'll take it. And
fantastic.
I kind of just had a look on my face and I went, oh, I haven't put the tag on it. She goes, I don't care. And then she goes, I'll come find you later. And and then the show director, Jay Downey, comes and goes, that's Rosa. Good job. And he's like, so.
And he feels good about it. I mean, that's justification for him those guys picking you too.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't just, it legitimizes both you and them and, the people, everything about it. It's like, they were like, okay, sweet. We know we picked the right person. It's like, it's responding to, it's hot.
It was great. Well, and you were the poster artist, how many years it was like?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but
it's been maybe 10, 11 years ago, I think.
Okay, yeah. You know how it feels. It's a fun, rare opportunity, and there was pressure on it, but that's good. I feel like I thrive really well under pressure. I think it was probably my best piece I made of 2025 was that piece. I like really wanted to push myself on the layering and the ideas of it. And sometimes I don't use a lot of color, but I was like, let's have this be colorful. It's the poster for Fort Worth. It's not, I didn't want to do something kind of on my darker side. I want to do something more really lighthearted. Sure. And Jay Downey said that it was like one of the best selling posts. I think they sold out of the shirts on like the first day. And he was just being so nice and talking about the piece and how the original sold like right after and everything like that. So
that feels good.
Also, it's nice. I mean, I feel like, and this might be kind of a controversial point in our industry, but I feel like there's some artists that are doing the circuit that are there to make money. They've figured out that art shows are a great way to make money. And then I think there's some artists that are making art and then going, wow, I'm so lucky that we have these opportunities to have shows so that I can make my work and sell my work. But making new work and pushing myself as an artist is honestly the most important thing to me. And the art shows, I think, it's just the perfect pool to work from of keeping yourself honest, keeping yourself driven, pushing yourself. How much better can I get? When you get a rejection from a show, you're like, all right, what do I got to do next time to get in?
Right.
How do I better work, better boost shot, everything like that. And I always think of the art shows as this wonderful cattle prod, just constantly keeping me, make new work, make better work.
That's so much better than how I see it sometimes. Cause sometimes I really see it as the hamster wheel and I'm like, oh my God. Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah.
Like only when I'm kind of like, I mean, you're juggling the different things and it's trying to work out the schedule because it's like my wife is an art show artist and so is my ex-wife. And then we've got kids and juggling the different schedules and all of the stuff. And it's like, okay, we've got that November, December where we're applying to things. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's time to hop back on. And then just the travel of like, just trying to deal with my kids and the fact that my oldest, she's going to leave us next year.
Wow.
Yeah, she's going away to school.
Where's she going?
We don't know yet. She's just finished up the application process, but by all accounts, it sounds like she really wants to be in the Northeast.
Okay.
So that's she has an amazing group of friends. And typically as a parent, you're like, don't follow your friends, follow your own bliss. But I'm like, her circle of people is so inspiring to her. And they're always out there. Like they're the kids who are getting up at 4 a.m. so they can hike to the top of the ski mountain and sit up at the top and watch the sunrise and then ski down as the lifts open and they're the first people down the mountain in the powder. And like, she's not the kid that I was. I was much bigger asshole. She's out there like, she's never really, I keep telling her too. I'm like, she's like, you never say no. And I'm like, nope, that's not true. I definitely will say no, but you've never proven me wrong. Like I keep giving you freedoms and I'm like, okay, I'm going to pull the freedoms back as soon as you start to show that you don't deserve them. And she never shows that she doesn't deserve them. And it's this circle that she's surrounded herself with and just these badass kids and they're super smart and outdoors and so I'm kind of, I don't know. That's
a good fit. I think a great group of friends is really important. I didn't really quite have that growing up, but I feel like I do now. Within our artist community, I wouldn't have thought in my late 30s I would find a best friend, and such a strong group of friends that I have now. I feel like it's harder to make friends when you're older and like later in life, but
just wait.
And also I'm like super good friends with like my parents as well.
Yeah,
so
amazing.
It's kind of like a smaller circle, but I think as a man, I couldn't want anything more for my kid going to college than a good group of solid friends.
Absolutely. So I know, but we're just talking, this is the stupid shit, but who are your peeps?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I've formed a really great friendship with Paige Whitcomb over the years. I think it started peer-wise, artistically and stuff like that, as someone that I loved her work, admired her husband as well, Mick Whitcomb. His work is absolutely fabulous.
You know what I love about that dude too is like he always like his self-defense mechanism is kind of like, oh, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I'm the big dumb guy. It's like, well, he's one of the smartest people I think I've ever met.
He is just well-read, just super smart dude. I mean, to put all that work together, man, that takes a certain type of mindset, man. Like I don't have that mindset.
The gig is up, Mick. We know you're not.
Yeah.
But those guys are super inspiring, though. And I feel the same way. And I'm lucky enough to be friends with a lot of the same folks. But it's like I do find that those people are very inspiring. And I want to create work for myself. And I see what you mean. But it's like I also want to create work that I'm like, okay, well, what's new? You know, what are you showing off? You just can't show up to these big shows and show the same stuff. It's like that starts to get it's fun to see your work as it progresses and gets
that's what I like about my friendship with Paige is because it is just girl talk and fun stuff. But she's one of the first people that I can talk to as an artist that I value her opinion and bounce ideas off. And she and we only help each other. We never, I don't know. I feel like sometimes, especially artists, I think there's some people that think this is competitive or there's a level of competition. I don't see it that way. I just see this as all these other people that have all these other mediums and ideas that I would love to talk to about. She was one of the first artists that would ask me, what you working on? Yeah. Like she actually wanted to know, and oh, wow, that's great. And what new series you're working on? I don't know. It's fun to have a friend that you can work and play with. There it is. Like,
absolutely.
She's a confidant, a genuinely good person. Her husband is great. I'm glad that our husbands are friends. He's a writer and mixed, so we're red, so they get to talk about that. But I mean, we have tons of artist friends, but sometimes you just bond with some people in certain ways. And it's really fun getting to get to know artists on the circuit. Not everyone's for everyone else. Sure. Some artists you're like, hey, cool, you seem awesome. We might not, have in-depth dinners together or something like that, but we can shoot the shit
yeah,
out
it's
of
fun to see like the different
fun.
Yeah, it's fun to see the different art show kind of clicks and see who you're talking to and or realize, you meet somebody, you're like, oh, that's this cool guy. And you realize, oh, you're friends with that other person that I've thought on the same type of level. It's like, oh, yeah, of course you are. It's of course, Derek Christensen and James Cole are friends. Like that. It's just good. It's the good dude club.
It's the good
just
dude
a
club.
Really good guy. So,
I like that.
I mean, it's interesting to see who we all kind of gravitate towards. And talking about your parents and your relationship, which came first, the chicken or the egg, and getting your dad into art shows, or did he get you in? How'd that work?
It's kind of a little bit of both. I actually knew about art festivals as a kid because my parents took us. So my parents have been collecting art since I was a kid, going to Santa Fe galleries. I mean, my parents went to Cherry Creek, for fun. They flew with friends to go buy art. And so they are your wet dream collector. Like basically they walk in, they know what they like. They don't mess with you. This is how my dad buys art. He looks, I'll take that. He's just
perfect.
They know what they like. They've got great taste, good people. So I already kind of knew about that. And then when I started getting into my work, I already knew about art shoes as an avenue to go. I already knew about Cottonwood because my parents had taken me.
Amazing.
So got to do that.
So you were lucky. My parents were taking me to Crozet. That's where I went.
No. Yeah, they were looking for some. Well, they had always told me like you can find the best art at art festivals. Not dealing with galleries. You're talking to the artist. You're talking to them. You're getting their story, their soul, and taking it home with you. And not saying they didn't buy from galleries, but they loved buying from art shows. Like that's
they're the
how
type
they
of folks. Yeah, they like to meet the people. Yeah.
And then I started doing art shows, and both my parents were kind of like, "What?" Spent my whole getting a biology degree, and then for a little bit, and then was bartending, and I was like, maybe I'll be a sommelier. I really like drinking wine, and that can be a whole career path there. And then I was like, no, I think I'm going to do art. My parents just kind of went, okay. And I'm like, no, I'm going to make it work. I think I've got a passion for this. And so they supported it. But they also I did it on my own. I remember this one conversation telling my parents about, the things I was learning and having to do and build up. And I was like, all right, next thing is I got to get a van. I got to get some way to get. And my mom turns to my dad. She goes, let's buy her a van. And my dad goes, hell no. He goes, she can figure out how to do this by herself. We're not going to buy, my mom, buy her a van. My dad's like, hell no. She can work. And I did. And, I work towards it. It's, you know how it is. It takes you however many years to build up. And, I started with a Chrysler Town and Country that all the seats folded down in, and I could fit in a booth. And I started with mesh panels, and then you get pro panels, and how do the pro panels fit in? And then you just work your way up. And then it was I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago it was before COVID, so longer than that. But my dad kind of started seeing how much fun I was having and everything. And he's like, I kind of want to get in on this fun. Like, let's do something together. And so he's a retired architect. And so he used his woodworking skills, and we've had a bunch of different works together and collaborative works. He had his own solo work for a couple years.
Cool.
Everyone's like, oh, so your dad must have done shows. I'm like, mofos. This is OG legit.
Right. Opposite.
But he's taken a step back again. My mom had a very crazy life transition within her career path that took her somewhere very different this year.
Okay.
And so my dad we're going to take a break from the collaborative work, and he's going to take a break from his work while he kind of figures that out with my mom. So just take some pressure off of me, because having 2 bodies of work and applying for 2 shows and showing up for 2 shows, like when both works got juried into Cherry Creek 2 years ago, man, that was some pressure to have.
Definitely
2 bodies of original new work coming to Cherry Creek to try to, put up there again. So it was a massive amount of pressure those couple years. And so, getting to just go back to just my work, now I just my work, focus on that, pushing that. It's a lot easier.
Definitely takes the pressure off. I'm certain.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pressure too and there are completely different bodies of work that I don't have any participation, obviously, in my wife's work. She's 100% her, but doing the 2 different shows and being side by side, and both of us having that added kind of just kind of the tension in the household too, of just like, oh my God, we're both, but at least we speak the same language and we understand it.
Yeah.
So that's different, but it's I totally get it. Now you've got Rodrigo. You're going to be one of those couples. You're going to be like Bonnie and Steve, or the Phobats, or it's like the husband and wife team. Yeah,
he's got his own, he's his own creative personality too, which I love. He's also kind of a jack of all trades. That dude is good at anything he tries to do. He's a writer, he's a musician, videographer. Awesome. Teaching he did for a long time. It wasn't ever his true passion, but he was a great teacher. But now he's really settled into his writing career. So he's
that's awesome. What kind of stuff does he write?
Horror, which of course I'm a huge horror reader and cinephile and all that stuff like that. So of course he gravitated towards horror writing, but he's writing like a horror anthology that he's just finishing up. I've gotten to read all the stories. It's amazing.
Wow.
He's got this wonderful illustrator that's here in town doing the cover art and stuff like that. And then after he publishes that, he's going to move on to a novel, kind of like a shorter novel. But
my sister is her job is to help writers pair them with editors and publishers, and so we should definitely talk. She's that's what she does.
He's got a couple. I'll definitely hit you up for that connection, because it's going to be a smaller. He's probably going to look for smaller publications and stuff like that. I met a really cool, interesting woman in Austin that ran the Bird's Nest, very small bookstore, and they publish small stuff. And I told her about my husband's work, so hopefully there's an avenue there. I'd love to talk to you and get a hold of your sister for him. But it's going to be small. He's going to start off with this first one and then see how it goes. But I know how hard it is to get. Writing is such a weird thing right now. I don't know, books in general, but he's got a real passion for it. And I think if you have a passion for it, he'll make his way into.
He definitely will.
Some cool avenues.
I could see that dude on a book jacket.
Oh yeah,
cool looking guy. It's hard. I'm like, heck yeah.
And his sense of horror it's not like casual horror. There's some pretty. he likes really trying to scare people and unnerve people, and he's got his own writing style where he definitely has a sense of pop culture, and you what time period you're in when you're reading his books. Like it's very relevant and kind of almost like a Ready Player One type of mindset where it's really enjoyable knowing exactly what he's talking about. And he throws in little Easter eggs of cool pop cultural references that everybody, when they read his work, they're like, oh, that's so cool that he works that way in. You feel like you know exactly what time, what time it was, the 90s, in Abilene, Texas, and that's kind of how his writing style is. So
I can't wait to see what he does. That's super exciting. That's really exciting. So you got the family connection. That frees him up to kind of come on the road with you. You've got your dad is doing his own thing, but he's out there as well. You get your circle. Oh, we're talking about horror, and we've talked about horror quite a bit. And just reading, we're both big Stephen King fans, and just talking. I love talking to you guys when I see you on the road. But how does that influence come into your work at all?
It did a lot more when I first started.
Yeah.
I don't like admitting it, but the art festivals are a different type of way to work and mindset and do art full time. And the realization that some of the darker parts of my inspiration and mindset weren't always for everyone and might not translate well into jurying. I try not to ever really let what are they looking for, what are people looking for, influence my work. But I do tend to make my darker work for myself. I had like a whole Memento Mori series that I loved. I had a Dia de los Muertos series that was inspired by my family. My husband's from Torreon, Mexico. We've been to Mexico City multiple times. We love it. So that was an influence there. But I think it just influences me as a person. Like I come off as more of a darker soul. I definitely have a darker mindset, and the horror definitely has an impact on me. It doesn't translate as much in my work as much anymore.
Well, that's funny. I asked the question and I'm thinking about the answer and listening to you talk about it. And I'm like, but you do put off the persona, and maybe it's because I just know you a little bit and we've talked, and I know what you're into, but then I'm looking at your work too, and it's like, well, not always. Yeah, it's edgy, but it's also not, you're not like beating somebody over the head with it. It's also, it translates.
Well, I do. And also like, some of the artists that I follow that I've loved for so long, like Chet Zar, that dude is, when people are like, what's dark art? And I'm like, go look at Chet Zar. That dude is doing something just super cool and unique and just really dark hearted. And some people will kind of be like, wow, this is kind of interesting. It's kind of got a darkness to it. And I'm like, really? But I also think, it just depends on who's looking at it. But I think it's got an edge. It's just for how my mind works and how sometimes darker my mind works. I think my work comes off more lighthearted, and then maybe I would always want it to be, like I said, I'm not trying to make the jurying or the art or the city or whatever show I'm doing have an influence on me. But I think at this point it can't be helped.
Sure.
I'm also like, whenever I'm talking to artists, when they're like, well, how do you know what to make? And I'm like, my go-to is make what you want. Like make something you like, because there's going to be people out there that are going to gravitate towards it and like it too. But then I do tell them there is a real aspect of this. This is a business, and you do need to figure out a way of the best way to jury into these shows. Putting your work out there that you're getting juried in, you're having successful shows, you are selling at the shows. So as much as I would like to say it doesn't have an influence on my work, it sort of does.
It's got to. Yeah.
It's,
and the people that listen to the podcast regularly, or at least Douglas, I know, is listening as he's editing, and he's going, Will's getting ready to talk about his Venn diagram. Will's getting ready to talk about his Venn.
I haven't heard about the Venn diagram.
Okay, so my Venn diagram is like, okay, here's my circle. Like, here's what I can make. And then the other thing is like, here's what I want to make. And then the other one is, here's what sells. And it's like, it's can, want to, and sells. And like, I'm right there. It's like, well, could I do house portraits? Absolutely. I could do house portraits. I could do them all day. Would I want to kill myself after 2 weeks? Yeah. I can draw your house, but I'm not going to. I can do your pet portrait. And, maybe it'll come a time in my life where I'm like, I want to draw Cocker Spaniels and everybody leave me alone. But like now I'm like, I want to be dead in 2 weeks. So it's like, can, want to, sells. And then
that's a great way to put that.
That's where we live.
I'll use that going forward, because I also, one of my passions is I love being a part of the emerging artist programs with the different shows. I love getting to like see, I mean, sometimes they're not even kids. Sometimes they're like 30-year-old, 40-year-olds that are like, hey, I kind of want to see what this is about. And I love getting to talk to them about, just give them the information that I got through countless other artists that gave me, and work your way up and stuff like that. But I'm going to use that when I talk to them next time about the diagram of, because they say that all the time, like, well, you know, should I make prints, you know, or should I try to make, you know, this type of work or this type of work? And I love how you put that, you know, it's that balance of all the three different things.
Those three things, and then you live in the center. I love the other thing I've talked about with emerging artists that I'll bring up because I'd love to get your opinion, is that a lot of times it's hard to have them just constantly in the booth with you. And I kind of want to, you know, I don't want you cramping my style, and I want you to kind of, but I try to define it pretty well, but a lot of times I'll just give them homework, and I'll be like, okay, you guys, you don't really want to just sit here watching me not do anything and wait to catch a fish for, you know, St. Louis was amazing. This young woman working with me, got to show her a sale, got to show her how I worked the sale. And we really, like, this was one of those where, like, it was a big piece that I knew they wanted it. They knew they wanted it, but they couldn't pull the trigger. So that she got to see me do all of my, I was like, okay, here's how you do this. And magic. I was like, and I did this. And I even knew, like, I could kind of show her every step of that. So, but anyway, that was super cool. But then again, this kind of Venn diagram where I'm like, okay, I want you to go find 3 artists. I want you to go find somebody that you think you're better than already out of the box. I want you to go see somebody that you think you could be. And I want you to show me somebody that you could never be, that's kind of could be like a hero. And I'm like, I want you to go show me those kind of things. Cause I figured that out. Cause, like, I remember talking to Clifton about, he was inspired to be a photographer. He had a background anyway, but he was inspired to do art shows for a living by going to kind of, I think he said he went to Bucktown in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, man, I think I could do this better than that guy. Yeah. And how inspiring is that to find somebody that's doing it, that you're kind of like, and, you know, and not putting anybody down, but at the same time, you're also like, oh, well, if that guy can do it, I can do it too, you know? Yeah.
And you got to start somewhere with that. I really like that too. Like, I learned a lot from Chris Vance.
Awesome. Love that dude.
Because I swear, if there's a emerging artist program, Chris is in it. You're usually there. Sharon Spiller, I'm always trying. You can tell the ones of us that are those. We're gonna get them. Bring them out here with us. One of us. You know,
that's all right.
Google gobble.
Chris and I had a great conversation about that in I think that was St. Louis as well, because Stephen King ran that one, and we were talking about, you know, just what we talked about, you and I, just earlier, about not really being each other's competition, about all being in there, and you wouldn't really think. And going into this house, I was like, I go into these people's houses and I see, you know, Benjamin Fry, who I used to think was like my competitor, and I'm like, nope, we have the same collectors. That's not that's not competition, but we have a similar collector. Or, like, I mean, I love being next to Greg Turco, who's a photographer, and our work looks awesome together. But I was like, Vance and I were talking about, he was like, yeah, same thing. But I don't think I've ever hung in the same house as you. Oddly, I've never seen, you'd think that would work. Later that Sunday, pulling into a driveway as he's pulling out, just high five out the window. And
what's up, buddy?
It's just so cool.
Great. Yeah, I enjoyed that as well. Getting to do installations and and you can always tell those collectors that only shop from art festivals, because you'll be like, oh, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so. Like, I got to do one earlier this year, and I swear it was every artist that's ever done Cottonwood was in this woman's house, you know, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. You can tell she just only gets art from and goes to Cottonwood like every spring and fall to collect. But yeah, I was going back to the emerging artist, Chris Vance. You and him have a very similar, I don't know, just how you guys carry yourselves, the very good aura that you guys give off. You guys are passionate about your work. You guys are passionate about other artists. just about the shows in general. Like, you guys actually care about the shows themselves, the quality, I don't know, just how they're being ran. It's like all those aspects, you guys have those top-notch qualities that I'm always just really always amazed by other artists and stuff like that. And he's got a similar kind of vibe when he's talking to the emerging artists and stuff like that about he's real, like he's real with them. You know, he sends them out. You know, I think what he told me, my favorite thing, he said he sent an emerging artist out to do. He goes, go into someone's booth and just be interested and see if they even talk to you. See if they even think you're there to buy art. You know, did they ignore you? Did they talk to you whether they thought you were going to buy something or not? How did you feel about that? Did that make you feel angry? Were you okay with that? And I was like, whoa. Like,
oh, that's awesome. I love that. I'm stealing that.
That just blew my mind, where I was like, oh man, because that is a thing, you know, like how we talked about earlier, like, how are you in your booth? Like, are you real standoffish? Are you very friendly to everybody? Are you a salesman, or are you just like, here's my stuff. Do you like it? Do you want to buy it? You know, I don't know. I also thought that was a very interesting way to navigate that, when he's like, so based off of how other artists talk to you, you can decide how you want to talk to people that come in your booth. Right. You know, and I thought that was another just great, that's brilliant, valuable, you know, thing to talk about, you know, kind of thing.
No, it really is. Yeah, that's brilliant. I love thinking.
I'm gonna take from both of you, from both of y'all now. That Venn diagram, like
you got them all. You got them all set up. I think that's Chris is so no nonsense too. It's like exactly you know who you are, and it's exactly who he is, and that's what you get.
Has he been on the show?
No, I'm asking him as soon as we get off. That's the great idea. How have I not had him on there? We did talk about it.
Yeah, make sure and ask him about his skating.
Oh yeah,
he has a whole nickname and skating persona and everything that I had no idea about. We were neighbors at Plaza one year, and we were bored. It was like, hey, Erin, want to hear something weird? I'm like, sure, Chris. He was like,
how weird?
I'm like really into roller skating, and I'm like roller blades? He's like, no, like skates, like roller skates. And then he just talks to me about how he's you know, roller skates at like not derbies, but like roller skate rinks and stuff like that. Yeah. He can like dance while he's doing all this stuff. And I was like, thanks, Chris. I feel like I know you just a little better.
That's amazing.
I know.
I will absolutely ask him about that. I can't wait.
Ask him about his roller skating. So
great. I definitely will. So, what do you wish I was asking you about? What do you want to talk about? And we talked a little bit about some of the horror stuff and dark side, but you know, I kind of thought we'd scratch on that a little bit. But what are some of the things that you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. Like I'm, you know, times are weird right now. Feel like always referencing like where we are kind of sometimes adds to, you know, the beauty of maybe listening to some of these later down the road. You know, the world is kind of a weird place right now, and I'm feeling the weight of it.
Yeah,
like I haven't really before.
Right.
Because if we're going to talk about stuff that's like what's going on with us, right? With what's going on with me right now, what's going on with you right now? Like honestly, kind of that. Like it's been making its way into my work, and I think that's good. But I also feel very just troubled by.
I do too. Yeah.
Things going on right now.
Let's see that whole T-shirt. Let's
yeah. Down. I mean, got the fuck Nazi shirt on right now, trying to. You know, I made a piece the other day, and I had a whole different mindset about it. And then it was the day that Renee Good got shot, and I was working through how I'm going to do this piece. And I just looked at it in just a really different light. And I was thinking about not the ugliness. I was thinking about watching all the people come out right after and come together in Minneapolis and, you know, yelling her name and stuff. And I'm kind of drawn, and I'm kind of looking on TikTok and watching the stories and keeping updated about what's going on. And I will say, like, I'm interested to see what is going on in our country right now, how it has an influence on the rest of us as artists.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not the most fun thing to talk about, but
no, it's definitely not. But I don't see how you can necessarily be aware and not make, you know, not have it influence your work. I mean, you know, my wife is from that area in Minneapolis and Minnesota. She grew up in Fergus Falls. The people the videos that they're showing of the Renee Good murder, her friends, some of her friends, some people she knows shot the video. They live there on the street. And it's like, well, it's a couple of gay women couples that live there. They probably knew each other, and it's just like, it's just their neighborhood. I don't know. There's just this strange thing that's happening. And we're like, well, you didn't cry when Charlie Kirk was murdered. I'm like, okay, well, look, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I can feel just as strongly. Also, the person that assassinated Charlie Kirk was immediately caught and brought to justice, and everybody worked together to bring that fucker to justice. Yeah. The difference is that with Renee Good, she was murdered in broad daylight, and one group of people is saying they see one thing, and one group of people is saying they see the other thing, and then we have she was murdered by a government person.
I know.
And then we're not allowed to investigate it is crazy. And it's like, a lot. How can you not? And it's like, oh, but this is political. What I'm saying right now, that's a political view. That's crazy too.
It's the time we're living in. I saw a bunch of people referencing George Orwell, 1984, talking about I can't say the quote word for word, but it's basically like, the government told you to not believe what you were seeing,
what you saw.
And that was their last final command.
Right.
And I feel like we're just living in this weird time, and it's creeping up. It's creeping up on my sense of self. And I think I made a post and I just said, look, like I try to do what I know how to do. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do with their political, ideologies and stuff like that. I protest, I was out there protesting. I was out there in Dallas.
Nice.
On Thursday night out there protesting, and that's what I know how to do. But also I made a post about like, what can I do? And I feel kind of helpless, but as an artist, I feel like we're the long lasting impressions of these time periods. We're the eyes and ears that kind of bring some of this to sight. And I made this piece and I just said, look, I'm making this in honor of everybody out there marching, because it's the ties that bind us. It's the things that are going to bring us together, that are going to make a difference, that are going to make us stronger, not the reasons why we're different. And, while I really don't agree with most of those other counterparts, I see everybody marching and everybody making a difference. And I go, how can I use my voice? What do I like to do? I like to make art. How can I help that influence? And I don't know, move people, get people understanding of how it's making people feel. I might not be saying in this like the most eloquent way. I'm just
you're getting it out. Yeah.
Trying to kind of piece it together. But yeah, I think, we were talking about what influences you, and, honestly, like things going on in our country right now, I'm interested to see how our other fellow artists, we feel deeply. These are our thoughts and feelings coming out on canvas or paper or in your photography and stuff like that. And I'm interested to see how this is going to go forward with our fellow artists' work. Your work, like how's it going to influence us both? And
yeah. I mean, it already has, and I think if you stick around people long enough, you get to hear how it has, especially artists that make work. And this is not a judgment at all. I mean, it's just but work that actually is representative. Representational work. I mean, and it's and abstract as well. Abstract is honestly, you can see some super powerful, angry work coming out. But man, you want to see some angry, explosive work. The trans artist that we had in season 3, I think it was, Cami Rohr, has given up photography and is moved to Manhattan and has a studio in Chelsea. And damn, what some powerful, crazy, angry work that's coming out of that person. They are really, they're exploring, but they're kind of working towards the top of their game as far as a completely new medium and at least expressing themselves. So it's wild to see what comes.
I'll have to ask for their name again, because I'd very much like to see that. I mean, I know I'm not familiar with their work, but I do know Shepard Fairey has always been somebody that I've always looked to from what's going on in the times. And some of the work he's making right now is very representational of kind of how we're feeling and
very cool
thinking and stuff like that. So he's always been somebody.
Yeah, but this artist, you can look them up on Instagram. I believe the photography name is pretty much kind of a dead name to them now. So it's just Cami. Cami Rahor is, they went off as their stage name and just go by their stage name now. So, but
I'll
super
definitely
cool
look
work.
them up.
Hey, that quote, I was tempted to this is the beauty of podcasting is like, oh no, I just automatically know the Orwell quote that you're talking about, Erin.
You can off camera look.
I'm like, ugh. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. George Orwell, 1984.
Goosebumps,
chills,
man.
Right?
Just chills. And I don't know. And I feel like we're going to be a part of this weird part of history where however many years from now, it's going to be the same questions that we asked when we were in history class learning about the Holocaust. And we asked the question, how did they let this happen?
Yeah.
How did the people let this happen? And I'm sure people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you're exaggerating. You're being way too emotional about this. And I go, I don't know.
They're literally rounding people up and
they're going door to door asking if you're a citizen.
Yeah.
And that sounds pretty Orwellian to me. Sounds pretty dystopian to me when you have a government agency with no oversight or accountability going door to door asking you. And then what are they doing door to door? What's their hierarchy of when they get to take you or not? And I just think,
and then the terrifying thing too about this Renee Good, not just the fact that she was murdered in the street, but the terrifying thing is that they are being told that these ICE agents are being told that they now have the authority to do whatever they want. So if I open the door and they see my late middle-aged whiteness standing up there, and my daughters are like, use your privilege for good, Dad. And I'm like, but if I open the door and tell them to go fuck themselves, they have the right now to just punch me in the face.
Or do what
shoot
they want.
Me.
And I think a lot of the reason the Renee Good shooting I just couldn't, it's the whole day, because I was like, that would have been me.
Yeah.
I would have done what she was doing. I've been I've gotten in people's faces before. I'm very comfortable, wearing a fuck Nazi shirt in public. And I just thought that's a lot of us. That's a lot of us women that would have, you see the video from his perspective and she goes, it's okay, man. I'm not mad at you.
Right.
And then a minute later he shoots her in the face and then calls her a fucking bitch.
Right. Because she emasculated him somehow by not being scared.
And
the fact that she's not quivering in her boots. Oh yes, sir, little, this little piece of shit. I don't know. These people they wouldn't make it through a regular police academy training camp, but somehow they're given the keys to the country to just go out and do whatever they want.
Yeah, because we're on an artist podcast, right? And we could just talk about art and we could talk about shows and show politics and all this stuff like that. But, I get to be on here, right? Like I get to say things that I want to talk about. And
loud and proud. Absolutely.
A lot of who I am as a person, like a lot about me is about how passionate I am about, I don't know, just being in this country, being a woman in this country, and just, I have thoughts and feelings in politics just like everybody else, but I guess like that is a lot about who I am, a lot about what I believe in social justice, and it does have a lot of influence on me as a person. Like if you know me and we're at a show, like odds are I'm going to bring up something, about, I don't know, maybe politics or what's going on in the country right now. So I feel it's a safe space on the podcast to talk about what's going on,
And there are artists that we know that are, conservative folks that, swing the other way. But I think it's gotten to the point where I just fuck your feelings and how you feel about this. They're literally going door to door and murdering people in our city streets. So if you don't like how my opinion on it, then that's fine. Just
I've always liked that about you. You don't. I know there's some people that would say, well, you're an artist, you're a person, right? Don't talk about politics. It might gear some people away towards your work or something like that. And I've always liked, because I go, I don't care. this is a lot of who I am as a person. So if I'm not allowed to talk about, politics or my thoughts and feelings or on stuff like that without oh no, what if they don't want to buy your art after then? I go, I don't care. And you've always kind of been pretty open about how you feel. And you're not afraid to, I'm Will Armstrong. I'm an artist. I'm this, but I'm also a human being that has views, thoughts, feelings, and I'm not going to not let those integrate and come together because, oh no,
Right. And I was also raised by conservative people. My parents were Republicans. They hated I just lost my dad, but they are Republicans but always were Trump haters and students of, my dad was a huge student of history and loved to talk about that. And he also raised me to be able to talk to anybody across lines. And I have always been proud to be able to do that. And it's, it's getting worse because, you can't say something as like, your shirt right now, it should be such a basic view.
Yeah.
Like that is not political. Fuck Nazis. Like they're literally my favorite villain to watch get shot up and blown up on movies. Yeah, like that's what makes Indiana Jones great.
I was just about to say the melting face of the Nazi from Indiana Jones from the Ark of the Covenant. We all were wanting him to die. Like
yes,
we're like, yeah.
Like that is not a political view.
Well, that's kind of why I've been wearing more things and doing more things and saying more things, not being afraid. And, sometimes my husband, who grew up in Mexico, which is a completely different climate, politically, religiously, everything is completely different. And he's always like, be careful, this. And I kind of just go, I think I don't care. I don't want it. I don't care about being careful. I don't care about this at this point. I've got another shirt that says religion makes me gag, and it's a nun with a ball gag in her mouth. That one gets a few more looks than the fuck Nazis.
Well, are you a Nick Cave fan at all? Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds?
I've got about 4 songs regularly rotating in my playlist, but I don't know if I get to call myself a super fan because I couldn't name albums or certain things. But I'm a Nick Cave.
But
fan.
That's kind of like how I'm a Dylan fan. Like I'm a huge fan of like 4 records. The fact that he's got like 45 records, that I didn't do a deep dive, but he's got some really interesting views on religion that I think you'd totally dig. He considers himself maybe non-religious, but he sings a lot about God and he has a lot of interesting views as far as that goes too. So I think you'd get a kick out of that. There's your homework.
I will definitely. Well, I grew up listening to Tool, and Maynard James Keenan has always been one of my favorite frontman / lyricists, everything. And, he has an interesting, you can tell he had a very interesting view on religion and stuff in a lot of his albums. And I think, again, like art, music, us as artists, we're a great representation of what's going on in the world. What are people thinking religiously, politically, pop culture, all this stuff like that, So,
and you can't help but be affected. It's like, I don't know if you saw this clip, but Weird Al came out and it was just doing a Weird Al show and just did a straight cover of Rage Against the Machine. Like it just straight rage. Just like there's no, didn't put any Weird Al to it. Just, and the band obviously is, top freaking notch band. Like the band can do any style. And they were like, yep, here's how we're feeling. This is what we've got. And like, how angry does this world have to be that Weird Al just does straight Rage Against the Machine?
Straight Rage Against the Machine. I know. Yeah. Zach De La Roca is another brilliant voice, again, not giving a fuck, singing, talking about all the things. And it's weird, again, like the parallels are coming up again. Like, it's very, I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying not to feel hopeless about it. I'm trying to channel things into work and good and helping people and all stuff like that, and not getting discouraged or feeling helpless. But I'm gonna try to channel Zach De La Roca and use rage instead of like hopelessness to kind of
and sometimes I feel like some of my influence or on some of my newer work is about some of the times that do bring us all together as opposed to the divisiveness. So if I'm affected by it, that's where I'm not always the most positive person in the world, but I'm trying to bring that out a little bit. So maybe I'll focus on some of that, but it's still.
You can try. I like the ones. I like the ones that are just straight up unabashedly like that. Oh, Cleon Peterson.
Oh yeah.
He's man. His work, like he's like what a man. Or Beeple. I know he had a crazy rise to fame, and what a unique story. But his posts every day, they're always really unique. It's an art form. It's him visually giving us, I don't know, our meat and potatoes for the day of what's going on. And whether you're with it, you get it, you don't get it, you're for it, not for it. But I think art, art is just such a way to convey how people are thinking, feeling, what's going on in the times. And I'm just like, how can I'm not going to say I'm going to be one of those voices, but how can I try to let it affect me in a good, channel it for good, kind of thing.
That's a great point. And it's so hard, especially in our industry where you're so super exposed. It's like, well, Shepard Fairey gets to say whatever he wants because he doesn't have to talk to these assholes.
Yeah, and he gets to just sell, I think he was at the LA art show recently, with some new work. And I don't think anyone's there getting in his face.
No.
Talking about, any of his work all up in his face. But I mean, I don't think it's not every artist's job to have to do it, but I think some of us feel maybe more of a calling to it than others. And
right.
I think that's a really rare and awesome thing to get to do. So, but when you were like, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like,
heck yeah. I'm glad that's why I asked.
Talk about the uncomfortable things.
Let's do it. Yeah. 100%. And I'm really glad we did. I'm glad you brought it up because I think I dance around it a little bit sometimes. Not really. But I don't typically dwell on it. We don't typically have a full conversation about that. But I honestly could not care less if somebody thinks less of me because of those views.
Same. I mean, I think podcasts are going to be an interesting thing going forward as little as snippets of time. And I think I listen to the daily like every day, and some podcasts are for fun, some podcasts are for politics, all stuff like that. But I think podcasts are going to be this really cool, long-lasting thing about what was going on in this time. What were people talking about? What were people doing? What were people ignoring?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And I get this little bit of time with you, and we were like, all right, what do we want to talk about? And
heck yeah.
Stuff on your mind. I mean, the amount of times that we talk about art show stuff, and I could talk about that all day.
Sure.
I think it's fun. I don't ever really get tired of it, but it was just something it's been there.
Yeah, it's in your mind, and I don't know. My goal in a lot of these conversations is to just feel like I got to know you better, or let the community introduce you to the community more if they only know your work or that they see you. So I feel like we did that, right?
Yeah. Okay, I got a fun. We'll pivot to something fun. Because I heard some people talking about this, and I was like, agree, disagree. What is your movie what was your movie of 2025? What was either your favorite movie or something that you thought was just blew you away? Or
Sinners.
Oh, awesome.
just blew me away.
Wow.
And I want to see honestly, I just want to see those characters too. I mean, I love the metaphor for it. I love the. I've talked to my daughter so much about inviting the vampire in has become part of our MO. We just start talking about ooh, you're letting the vampire in a little bit, and just using that as a metaphor too. I thought it was brilliant, from the art direction.
I loved it.
The everything. The story just was so cool.
Well, I have a funny pact with some friends that, because. Man, vampire comes to my door. I'm like, come on in.
Yes.
I'm ready. I've been waiting.
Right.
I'm already too old to be. I've been waiting so long, and I have a pact that says if they get turned vampires, they better come turn me, and then vice versa. So I love vampire mythology, and I read all the Anne Rice books, and I want, and the great thing was about that movie is I had no idea. Nothing got ruined for me when I saw it. I'm watching it. I think it's going to be a period piece. Michael B. Jordan's in it. It's going to be, and then I go, oh my God, is this a vampire movie? And I went, I
I know.
Awesome. Like, holy moly.
I thought it was bringing in like this kind of, and what I love about history is that we're told these stories that they don't book in them very much. So you don't like, so the Wild West, nobody really talks about the Wild West and the fact that a lot of the people that move out there and settle out west were people who were on one side or the other of the Civil War. Like that's where that happens. And it's like there are, you know, a lot of these guys are Confederate or Union soldiers, and that's how they would strike camps too. That Wild Bill Hickok was a Southerner that was a Union spy and had a Southern accent, so would infiltrate Confederate army. And it's like, so tying those stories and then also like thinking about the soundtrack that goes along with the Industrial Revolution too is like, I'm a big nerd about that. Like, okay, well, the Industrial Revolution and the blues are the same thing. Like it's people leaving the Deep South and going and getting jobs, and they're going up, they're leaving the racist South. And it's not just these industrial opportunities. It's the fact that the human beings were not welcome and didn't feel welcome down in Jim Crow South. Yeah. And pushing up or even earlier than Jim Crow. But I love that about like the beginning of that story and how they're tying in kind of Native American culture in, or the Native American kind of vampire hunters in with, man, it's so good. I got another one. So what was that yours as far as that goes? Was that your favorite?
It was favorite movie of the year. Definitely probably going to make its way. I'm a movie watcher, obsessive person. Like I'll watch movies over and over again, and then that's how they make it into my top 10 list.
Yes.
If it's something that I can put it on, I'll watch it at any point, anytime, any day, at any point in the movie.
Absolutely.
It's going to be there. I just know it. Like I think I've already seen
done
it
the same
times,
thing too.
So.
I did a painting actually based off of a scene that I didn't even realize was a scene off of that was the close up of the hands on the piano, and it's just a snippet of that when they first bring the piano in, and it's an upright, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was totally influenced by that.
Got
great. A book for you. Speaking of, and I may have already texted you about this one, but the Buffalo Hunter.
Yes, it's on. I've got a list on my computer. I can see it right now. It's on there.
Yeah,
because you and I have had a good enough rapport talking about books that I'm like, if it's something, because we've talked about our tastes, and I've desensitized myself so much at this point where I'm chasing, the next book high. So I know that you know that. So if you're like, this is a good one, it's on my list.
That's another one too, where you don't want to let anything kind of spoil you as far as that goes. And I think I
don't know anything about it, so
just dive in. And it's not. There are certain. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything more about it. Yeah, I feel strong.
I'm excited. I like knowing nothing about it. I picked up a random book in Austin from that little bookstore I referenced, The Bird's Nest, and I asked her. I said, I want horror, but not Stephen King. I want something weird, something real niche.
Yeah.
And she literally goes, this, and it's this blood red cover with this monster looking creature, and it says mother eating. And I went, should I ask you what it's about? She goes, no, just start reading it. And I read the first, I'm starting to read it. And you know how sometimes some books hook you in early, sometimes it's a longer, it's a slow burn. But this one, within the first 2 pages, I don't know if you know what a Judas cradle is.
Mm-mm. I don't.
It's a medieval torture device that is a wooden like a wooden edifice or that comes to a point and has a metal point, and you are being lowered onto it, and you can imagine there's a point, and that's in the first couple pages. That is, and so I was like, awesome. If you can incorporate a Judas cradle into the opening of a book, I know I'm in for a really nice, horrible treat.
That's amazing.
And she's a female writer. She's just starting out. She's in Austin. The book takes place in Austin, which is really cool. I'm learning about 70s and 80s Austin.
Oh,
she's
super
taken from all these real things about Austin, which I think is really cool. But it is graphic. It is. And I love it. My husband's like, what you reading? I go, something super messed up. And he's like, oh, right up your alley. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Amazing.
The more messed up, the better. So, I'm finishing up that, but then I think I'm going to hit up your
Buffalo
Hunter
The Buffalo Hunter. The other my other favorite book of the year was something you wouldn't expect, but do you ever read non-horror stuff too?
It's rare.
It's rare? Okay. So this was like Miranda July's On All Fours, which was it's this crazy, like, disjointed feminist powerful book, also just kind of bonkers. It's hilarious and heartbreaking and completely out there too.
Will you say the name again?
Miranda July is the author, and On All Fours is the book. On All Fours. Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Graphic, but there are parts of it. She's the character is an author like she is, but she goes off to a book signing, and instead of driving all the way to New York like she's supposed to do, she stops at a hotel 25 miles from her house and spends her money renovating the room the way she wishes it would be. Ooh. And then has a kind of a sexual awakening, kind of dealing with her own like perimenopause, like coming on early on. And it's such not the book you'd think that I would enjoy, but like, just like, cause it was so completely different from what I expected to be reading. Okay. You know,
On All Fours. I'll
check it out for sure. Check it out. And maybe, you might keep it on your list for the next 10 years and not get to it.
The list of books to read on my thing is insane, but sometimes you get it in yourself that you want to do that one next or something like that. So it'll be on the list.
But as far as like palate cleanser between one thing and the next thing, if you need one, it's so much different than anything else you might.
I'll put it in there because sometimes after this book, I might need a palate cleanser. I did do that. My dad did recommend, because again, he's like, you need to take a break from horror, and I'm like, sure. And he was like, read the Red Rising series. So I more not fantasy. It's hard to explain, but that was one of the few series that wasn't horror that I did end up jumping into. But I think a fun game that I'm playing with Paige Whitcomb is she was like, if you had to give me one book to read to know you better, what book would you tell me to read? And I was like, oh, and you'd think you're probably supposed to think about it, right? No, I went The Road.
Oh yeah.
Cormac McCarthy's The Road. I was like, and she was like, are you tailoring that to me or to yourself? And I went, both. I was like, I think after I read The Road, I felt changed as a reader.
Interesting.
Well, you read books and for different reasons. And after I read that book, I felt different. I felt like I had read something powerful, dark, interesting, well-written. The pacing was just nothing like I had ever read before. And I don't think I've cried that hard in a book ever than reading that book. And so I go, read that one. And she's like, and she's like, oh God. I go, okay, what book would you tell me to read to get to better? She's like, I'm going to have to, she has to think about things more. I'm just like a person, but, I'm interested to see what she recommends.
Yeah. You'll have to let me know.
I will. Cause I was like, man, is she going to pick something like, Bronte or maybe a period piece like I don't know, Pride and Prejudice or something like that. Yeah. We'll see. I'm interested to see what she picks. But
I think I go just off the top of my head, and I could probably think of something more interesting. I think I go Hotel New Hampshire, John Irving.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard that. To get to know you better.
Get to know me better. Yeah, I think so. Okay. And you're like, I mean, there's everything in that, but humor and empathy and storytelling and everything about it. I just love it. It's so kind of out there, but it brings me back to like, I have a real hard time with injustice too. And there's a little revenge play in there too.
Ooh.
So I go Hotel New Hampshire.
But, okay. I like that. I'll put that on. The list is going to be just insane.
We look like a goddamn bookstore at our house.
I have categories. Same. Like I have some of my small collection back here of just books. And I think it might not just be an artist thing, but everyone's like, why don't you get like a Kindle or an e-reader? And I go, no, having having the book. Like I like to read. I like to have the copy. I like to go through and sift through all the books and think, oh, when did I read that? Or, how, just looking back on books that had a big impact on me. So I'm like, no, I don't like having the Kindle or the ebook or whatever.
I do listen to them though. Do you ever listen to stuff?
I did. Well, you know how long we're on the road.
Exactly.
And so I pushed against it. But when my husband started traveling with me, he was like, let's listen to some books. And I go, can only be horror though. He was like, of course. So we did the original, The Exorcist.
Oh, cool. Amazing.
And that was, man, what a great book. We've also done Pet Sematary.
Oh yeah.
Which, man, I'm fine that I listened to it, but I kind of wish I would have read it because there was so many points where I was just like driving. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane. This is amazing. I like it when you can just be in a little nook and you're reading.
I do too. I like to be able to sit on it. Mm-hmm. When
take a pause from the book and you're like, whoa. What
right. When I don't even remember the exact line, but I could feel like I had dirt in my teeth.
Ooh.
At one point, where there's something the way the Stephen King describes it, and you could feel like the grind or the grit. And I think I remember sitting on that and just imagining it and thinking about that particular
such a good
part of. But I do, once I've listened to Stephen King a bunch, and especially after I've read it, and then I can just put it on because it helps me concentrate when I'm at the easel and I'm creating. So I'm like, well, I read Christine when I was a kid, and so I'm like, oh, well, let me just gobble these up, and I'll just put them on again, and I can just listen to The Shining, and I can listen to The Shining, and go back, and if you reread these at all, Steve, I think he used the same outline for The Shining and Christine, because
that makes sense.
It's a separate entity, and this is what King didn't like about the movie, is that it's not that the hotel is just haunted, but that it haunts the inhabitant, that it becomes part of his soul, and it takes over this, and he's got a weaker soul because he's going through this alcoholism, and he's an abusive guy, and anyway, and alcohol brought out the abuse, and so he was a weaker, open person, which is exactly what happens with this 16-year-old boy who buys this car, and it inhabits him, and it becomes a thing. But I think it's like the same kind of outline of the whole story. I'm like, holy shit. I've read too much Stephen King. I can recognize the patterns.
He's an artist. He's like all of us. There's some pieces where I go, did I just kind of make a version of a piece that I made 5 years ago, but it's kind of different, but I mixed it up, and then I look back, I go, I'm pulling from the same influences, but I'm making it new and it's different. But I go, no, you were channeling the same kind of inspiration from that piece, and then you made it 5 years later, kind of better, slightly different, kind of thing. I think artists kind of have a ability to recycle things, but make them new again.
I have to agree with that, because I hit a lot of those same things again and again, but I still love them, so I don't mind it.
Because it's going to be, Erin, what you working on? Some new bird pieces. Shocker,
Right. It's funny. I just saw this thing right before we got on. I was watching a YouTube clip of Steve Irwin breaking up a kookaburra fight. And I don't know why I needed to tell you about that, but it's like you mentioned Steve Irwin and birds.
He was my hero. Yeah. He was. Whenever he's sitting there, like I said, as a kid, he's like, crikey, look at that snipe. It could, if it bit me, I'd be dead in 10 minutes. And then he just picks it up and he's like, what a beaut, and he's like trying to kiss it, and I was like, man, I want to do that. But he one of a kind. There hasn't ever really been a Steve Irwin. His kids are doing a fantastic job. I know his son and his daughter super passionate about everything, and I know his son is out there doing what he loves and talking about animals too. So kind of there was never going to be another Steve Irwin except for probably Steve Irwin's son. But
I'm going to send you that clip though of the kookaburra fight, because he's speeding through a zoo and he's on his little moped or motorcycle. And he stops and he's like, hey, you two. And he grabs the kookaburras and he's like, stop that. And there's some fluff in one of their mouths, and they're like, and they're super pissed at each other, and and so he tries to tell them to stop, and they're like, and then he just starts trying to speak kookaburra. He's like, cuckoo, cuckoo. And they kind of look at him like that, and he's like, no, you go over here, mate. It's so great.
That's what I loved about him. He treated animals, he talked to them like they were people, I don't know.
Yes.
It's just such a cool dude. Big influence on me. I'm actually, before we got on the podcast, I was flipping through my Audubon book. I'm doing like a series that's kind of based off of my love of James Audubon and how
cool.
His Birds of America book was one of the first things my parents gave me as a kid. When I said that I liked animals and I liked art and stuff like that, and they were like, well, here. And I just remember being, wow, this is art. You can make art just about animals and plants. Yeah. And so I am going through that and I'm just taking influence on basically like what species he uses on the different lithographs. And then he uses a plant species and a bird species. So I'm kind of using the bird and the plant, but doing them in completely different context, just a completely different, my style, how I would depict them if I'm James Audubon, sketching out I don't know, like an oriole next to a magnolia kind of thing like that. So
that's very cool.
I got the idea whenever I was in a rare bookstore in Denver after Cherry Creek. And she was like, I was talking about Audubon. She goes, we have one of his original lithographs in the back. I was like, I'd love to see. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then right then I went, oh my gosh, how cool would it be to do like a series, like a love letter to James Audubon, and like how much I think he influenced me as a kid, as an artist, as a biologist and stuff like that. So
God, that makes me want to do, like, that's crazy that you say that, because I'm thinking about, what's the first book? My grandfather gave me the Smithsonian collection of newspaper comics.
Ooh.
And I loved it as a kid. And I'm like, man, I'm going to go crack that open when I get.
Right.
Yeah. And then my dad gave me this like R. Crumb anthology for Christmas one year when I was a teenager. And I remember opening Crumb. Yeah. R. Crumb.
Yeah. I know Crumb.
Yeah. But I remember cracking it open. It's Crumb. So it's just the most, graphic oral sex, scene, like the full page Crumb drawing of just slobber. And I'm like,
love it.
And he's sitting in his chair and he's like, he just kind of laughs and he's like, you might want to look at that by your, when, not by Christmas yourself. Morning, maybe later on.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a cool gift though. I think it's funny. I think I love talking to other people about how their family influenced them, the little things that you get as presents. Anybody who knows me knows that if you're like, why are you the way that you are? I'm like, I can trace it back to school nights, when I'm supposed to be asleep and I can't go to sleep. And then my dad would kind of hear me like, tossing and turning. He'd open the door and creep in and be like, are you awake? I'd be like, yeah. Be like, you want to watch a cool movie? Yep. And he'd go, don't tell your mom.
Amazing.
And I go, okay. And that's how I watched like Mimic. Wow. One of Guillermo del Toro's, one of my favorite movies of his, Mimic, very underrated.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. And that's how I saw Pulp Fiction for the first time. Although there was a scene I never knew existed until I got older, which was the GIMP scene. And
I was like, man, that's a rough one.
My dad was like, beep, and he's like fast forwarding, and I go, what's that? And he goes, nope, we're gonna your mom would never forgive me if I let you see that as a kid. True romance. Incredible. But also there's a scene that I just never knew existed until I got older, which is like the telephone booth scene or whatever, and a couple other ones. But if anybody is like, why do you like these horror and all these things that you like? And I'm like, I can trace it specifically back to my dad saying, do you want to watch a cool movie? Don't tell your mom.
Incredible.
Or also letting me listen to like Tool and 9 Inch Nails secretly in my room and saying, just don't let your mom hear.
I remember, so I'm 55. I've got probably 20 years on you. And I remember probably more your dad's age.
It's less.
Okay. So, but anyway, I remember, in 1984, I'm 14 years old. I was born in 70. 1984, the album 1984 comes out, and it's Van Halen, and I've ripped it off of a friend, and I've made a little tape, and I'm playing it on my little York's boombox, and it's echoing in my room. And my dad, I think he didn't judge it. I know he hated it, but he had gotten this, like, music was precious. We didn't stream anything. It was all like, these units, it was all this tape or whatever. You tape it off the radio or something. But if you had an album, it was like, you were going to listen to that goddamn thing and you were a fan.
Over and over again, yeah.
You know, and it's like that was going to be your thing. But I remember he knocked on the door, and I'm sure he had probably saved it for Christmas, and he just had this whole box set of Buddy Holly, and he tossed it on my bed. He's like, "Yeah, I hear you listening to music. You may want to check that out." Yeah. And it was like completely altered I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." And he didn't tell me, "Hey, turn that shit off." He just said, "Here, check this out." So it sent me on this whole other path. But he used to do that with all sorts of music, and he'd do it with I didn't really realize it until later. Like, I wasn't a huge reader when I was little in that age, and he bonded with my sister over, you know, he was doing the same thing. He's tossing me Buddy Holly, and he's tossing my sister Tolkien.
Books. Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, check this out. You might want to check this out." And it's like, "Oh, if you like this, maybe you'll like." And he wasn't a huge, like, to be totally fair, my musical box set tastes were probably limited to whatever the gift set was being sold at Costco that year. But it was still B.B. King and Buddy Holly, and you know, like all of a sudden it would be a Chuck Berry box set or a Muddy Waters, and he was like, he likes this. Let's give him that. Let's put a little more on the fire. So, man, I almost feel like we've got 2 episodes. We've got our pop culture episode. And
well, this my computer's flashing low battery.
Cool.
So
we've had an awesome talk, and I love that we did our whole. I don't know. I feel like we did our typical podcast, and then we broke it down into a bunch of stuff that just you and I wanted to talk about. So
cool. I love talking to you.
Definitely.
It's like I said, I could talk about art show stuff all the time, but we talk about that all the time with other people. Like, I love talking to you about music and movies and books and stuff like that. So it's not going to get talked about. So awesome.
we've got a good show, I think. Thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. But I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. The Buffalo Hunter is the next one that I'm going to read. I'm excited.
And I don't know. I hope it's dark enough. But at the same time, I'm not worried about it.
It can be on the spectrum of dark. I'm Allie and Jonathan. You know them, the printmakers. We were at Bayou shooting the shit, talking about stuff we love, and they said something about The Secret of Nim. And I was like, I loved that movie as a kid, man, such a dark. And they were like, have you read the book? And I'm like, no. They sent me a copy.
That's so sweet.
So that's I'm going to read that before I see them next, so I can talk to them about it. But Buffalo Hunter, I'm pretty sure I read the synopsis up, and I went, yeah. And I moved it up. It got moved up the list based off of. It was between that and like Blood Meridian. But I heard Blood Meridian's a real freaking hard read.
No.
So
it's not.
Is it? Okay. Some people were saying it was real difficult and that it's like McCarthy's weirder pacing or writing.
No.
But I like his pacing and writing, so I don't know.
I mean, if you can handle it, more than handle it. So I don't know. There's like, I mean, it just gets raunchy, some scalpings and ear necklaces and fucking everything. That's
what I'm up for.
Honestly, I think Blood Meridian would be killer before or after Buffalo Hunter.
Well, I might get it, put them back to back, and kind of have that same.
Yeah, that would be good.
Same kind of taste in my mouth.
Absolutely.
So I'll let you know what I think after I finish that. But I'm worried my computer's gonna die.
Best trip in Japan. Please give Rodrigo my best. You guys are gonna have a blast. I can't wait to see what comes of it. All right, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Will.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, is this the Independent Artist Book Club, Will?
Yes.
Or are we?
Yes, but I don't want you to read those books, Douglas. I warned you.
Oh, yeah, I know. My ears, my eyes.
Those are not for you.
Which is it?
It's too much. Hey, this is kind of funny. We're talking about the book club and stuff. They're definitely, I love talking about the books that I read and listen to when I'm on the road, and try to keep kind of a rolling list of different things that I've read.
And I love that. I think that's awesome. I think it's great that we share inspiration, even if it's just like our personal takes. It's still something that other artists are gonna find common ground with, and might be something that's interesting.
For sure.
So I think
and we've tried book clubs on like Facebook and things, but typically what happens is one person wants to write up what they think about it, and there's none of the give and take. There's just like hey, this is what I think, because that's the nature of Facebook, and nobody would ever respond to it. So the book club kind of like nobody patted me on the back for my amazing opinions. They just wanted to get their own amazing opinions out, so it didn't really work. But
Okay.
Talking on the road.
We'll have to have book club at the bar,
That's
after the show where we can see everyone's faces.
That's right. Man, talk about meeting at the bar and stuff. Have you heard about Amy and Phil, the Amy Flynn and Phil Bott?
I have. In fact, Amy brought that up to me last year when we weren't recording, and it's been on our list here to talk about for, a year and a half?
Yeah, they're getting together with a number of different retired. They are now retired. The Philbotts are retired, and
can't even believe it.
Yeah, well, and they're not just saying they're retired and well, I'm still going to do Cherry Creek and Fort Worth. Like, oh, God. So exhausting.
Still gonna compete for those coveted spots in the Big East.
Not giving my spot up just yet. But anyway, they are doing a pretty cool thing. They're getting together and having a little retired artist reunion. And did they ever determine which show this year they're going to all descend upon? Which one is it? St. Louis. So that's where their big pate is going to be. So what's that?
I hope I get in.
I know, right? Like, oh, that sounds potentially fun. Yeah. Maybe not. Depends. I don't know. So yeah, that'll be fun for them. Maybe not fun for all of us. They don't announce. I don't think they jury for another month or two, do they?
I think it's a ways out.
Don't they typically jury in March, April?
I tell you, my juries have been all over the place this time. It's like we had a really good jury here for the spring, which put us with like 5 shows back to back.
Seriously, I know what you mean.
Right after that, we're getting nothing. So it's almost like we're feeling the pressure to be like, well, if we've got the work and those are when the shows actually are going to work out, do we just do it? You know what I mean? Right. Do we do an insane schedule like that? Because nothing else is coming down the pike after that. So.
Matthew Nafsker told me one time when I was thinking about holding something back because I'd had a really good show and I didn't know whether to put something else on my wall. And he was like, our job is not to do art shows. Our job is to sell the work. So,
sell it,
put it out in front of people and sell it till it's gone, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm finding that to be the case too. It's actually kind of a huge bummer of a year because I'm not getting the same shows as my wife.
Oh my God, that's rough.
She goes off to one thing and I'll go off to the other, or I go with her to be security and sales help or what have you. But oddly, she doesn't want to come be my sales help. She gets bored too easily. It's like, come on. She's like, you don't need any help.
But she can get so much work done in the jewelry studio while you're
true.
Doing your thing.
That is true. So we've got some.
I mean, that is something you guys you talk about in the show, thinking about your schedule, thinking about, your kids and your ex-wife being an art fair artist and your wife being an art fair artist and you being an art fair artist, all different bodies, and you've got these schedules to match up. I think anyone who listened to that was like, ooh, geez, that's pretty tough.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. God. I mean, that's why we can't really commit to other things too. It's just, it's hard. There are things that I want to do and things that people ask us to do. I just can't do them. Just too much. I want to spend time with my kid too. She's getting ready to leave us. All of the schools she's looking at are in the Northeast too. So wants that kind of college experience. Flannels and Birkenstocks and leaves and
good old days.
Shuffling around and a lot of, I don't know how you like them apples kind of stuff. So let's not talk to each other anymore. Let's leave and go work.
Let's go get to work, and next time we talk, let's do it in Miami.
Sounds good. And let's not record it. You and I can just share what we really think.
Okay. All right, everybody. Keep her steady. What's the line we used on the first year when we were signed off? We said, keep it between the ditches, bitches, and get yourself to Florida.
I like it. All right, buddy. I'll see you in Miami. Drive safe.
All right, bye.
This podcast is brought to you by the National Association of Independent Artists. The website is naiaartists.org.
Also sponsored by Zapplication. That's zapplication.org. And while you're at it, find us on social media and engage in these conversations.
Be sure to subscribe to this podcast to be notified when we release new episodes.
Oh, and if you like the show, we'd love it if you would give us your 5-star rating and offer up your most creative review on your podcast streaming service. See you next time.